state of Texas. Democrats Chris Coons in Delaware and Jack Reed in Rhode Island also win Senate seats. Races in Virginia, New Hampshire, and North Carolina in the Senate are still too close to call. One expected to be in a close race, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, but he was an early winner in his quest for a sixth term representing Kentucky.
I've heard your concerns. I've made them my own. You will be heard in Washington.
McConnell defeating the challenge of Democrat Allison Lundergan Grimes, who at one point was within single percentage points in surveys ahead of their race. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
It's the hard truth. In today's world, negative experiences quickly find a way to go online. One disgruntled customer, a bad employee, or broken personal relationship can easily post an ill-advised photo, tweet, rumor, story, bad review, and there it is right on page 1 when you search your name or business online. In the past, you had no way to fight back. Well, now you can. Grab a pen and take down this phone number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-460-5733. That's 1-800-460-5733. When you call, you'll get free info that'll show you how a reputation management company can easily build positive online content for you and legally bury negative information. This is not something you can do on your own. Don't lose any more business or miss out on another personal or business opportunity because of what is wrongfully being said about you online. Take control of your internet search results. Call 1-800-460-5733. That's 1-800-460-5733. Hurry, don't delay. Call 1-800-460-5733 today.
Weather in Wyoming can change in a heartbeat. Are you emergency ready? Be prepared and stay connected in severe weather conditions with Eton Emergency Preparedness Radios. Eton radios are rechargeable. Hand turbine weather radios will keep you safe with up-to-the-date weather alerts, flashlight, and smartphone charger. Whether camping or during a power outage, Eton will keep you connected. Available at your local Radio Shack.
Calling all boys and girls ages 4 to 9. Learn to play ice hockey Saturday, November 8th, 1:45 p.m. till 2:45. Spirit Hall Ice Arena. The Campbell County Parks and Recreation Department and the Junior A Hockey Association invite you to a Try Hockey for Free Day. Experience ice hockey and learn the basics in a fun, safe environment. Skating experience preferred. The free clinic is part of Come Play Hockey Month. First 40 to register will receive a USA Hockey jersey and goodie bag. Pre-register at www.tryhockeyforfree.com or call 687-1555.
Daringly distinctive. That's the new 2015 Cadillac SRX, now available at Spearfish GMC Cadillac, with innovative technology like the lane departure warning system, OnStar with 4G Wi-Fi hotspot, rear vision camera, and sharp new colors like Cocoa Bronze Metallic. The new SRX is pure Cadillac. Discover the spirit of Cadillac at your regional Cadillac headquarters, Spearfish GMC Cadillac, online at spearfishmotors.com.
Now the latest from the News Talk 1270 KIML Weather Center.
For tonight, we're looking at mostly clear skies with a low around 27. For your Election Day Tuesday, increasing clouds. It'll be breezy with a high near 54. And for tomorrow night, mostly cloudy skies with a low around 36. That's your weather update here on News Talk 1270 KIML. News Talk 1270 KIML. I'm Don Carpenter, and welcome to our live election night coverage. And we have a lot of interesting races going on. Not only the nationwide races. We'll talk about those at some point for a little bit, but we have a lot of interesting state, county, and local races. And I'm joined to kind of help guide me through this thing by former Mayor Dwayne Evenson again. And you're pulling double duty like I did this morning.
I am. I was happy to be here this morning to talk about the 1% sales tax, and also delighted to be here with my friend Greg Blickery and yourself, Don, tonight to play a little politics and talk a little bit about politics, what's going on in the nation and the state and right here at home that's dear to all of us.
Absolutely. And of course, Representative Greg Blickery joining us again as well. So thanks for joining us this evening. And why don't we talk a little bit of, there are a few races that we probably won't be talking about a lot tonight because they're uncontested, but I think the candidates do deserve mentioning. I mean, they're, once we get into the part of the night where the results start rolling in, we probably will start kind of glossing over the uncontested candidates, but I mean they certainly deserve a little bit of mentioning. I know at least the first race I saw called was Cynthia Cloud, state auditor, which of course an uncontested race, but it's an important office.
Well, right here in Campbell County, of course we have some. Susan Saunders has been the county clerk for a long time, and she's running with nobody against her, and it's a pretty good bet she's going to win.
That would be something if someone were uncontested. I'm sure it's happened at some point in history. An uncontested person ends up losing a race, but
well, it actually sort of did in Wright for their mayor race.
Well,
with that write-in candidacy by Ralph King and against Tim Albin in the primary, but now they're both up against each other tonight. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Wright, because they were both great mayors, or really good mayors for Wright, and both of them are going to be up. Here, Becky Brazelton, we have a couple of people that are going to be new as electeds in our county this year. Becky Brazelton, won the nomination for county treasurer, and Cheryl Chitwood did for clerk of district court, and so both of them are uncontested now. Pretty likely to win, and it's going to be interesting because they're both, very capable and highly qualified for their jobs, and it'll be interesting to see how they do going into the next 4 years. Oh yeah, well, and of course the sheriff's race was that one was uncontested, I believe, all the way through. I don't think anyone ran in the primary either, but looks like Under Sheriff Matheny will be taking over for Sheriff Pawnell, who's moving on to the state Senate. Right, and Scott's state house. Sorry. Scott's been the undersheriff for a long time, and he's been in the sheriff's department for ever since he got out of college, and he's a popular guy here in this community and a straight shooter. Yeah, and I think if I remember right, 29 years of experience in the sheriff's office, so he'll certainly know the ins and out of the sheriff's office. Some of the other races, I know the county coroner's race at this point is uncontested, but during the primaries, I think there were 4 or 5 candidates, and it was a fairly close race. But of course, Laura Sundstrom looks like she's going to go on and win the county coroner race as well. And that's really interesting because Laura Sundstrom is uncontested, or essentially for that race. And yet her job right now is Crook County's second in command for that office. So that's kind of an interesting thing for Campbell County, that's where we are. Well, yeah. Well, and the coroner's office, I was surprised to learn that you really don't even need experience as a medical investigator to be elected. And of course, I think most of the candidates did have some experience as deputy coroners. So they're just, in this case, it was just a Crook County deputy coroner moving up to the top spot here in Campbell County. Yep. It's just interesting that, that's where it was. Oh, yeah. That she was doing the job over there, and now it's going to be over here in the job. And I don't actually know her, but I don't have any doubt that she'll be capable and do a good job as coroner for us. Yeah, and I know she's a big supporter of the Girl Scouts. I'm sorry, because she's been on the show for the Girl Scouts before. So I think that's if I remember right, she's the director of the local Girl Scouts organization. So yeah. She has strong roots then. Oh yeah, yeah. And of course, the one race that we'll probably be keeping an eye on, and I expect it to be fairly close, is the race for mayor. Of course, Kevin McGrath and Louise Carter King. We've heard a good bit of back and forth in this race, and in the primary, it was as close as you could get until even after the
absentee ballots came in, it was still, I think, within 100 or 150 votes. I mean, it was very close.
I think it was within 50 votes, 57 votes or something like that after, but there was about 100 vote switch.
Right,
or
right.
somewhere like that when the absentees came in.
Well, before
Doesn't that sound right?
Before the absentees, I think it was a 3-vote difference.
Yeah, it was 3-vote difference until they called the absentees, if I remember correctly, and it ended up being Kevin carried the evening by somewhere between 80 and 82 votes.
That's what it was.
Okay, so
something close to that.
It's shaping up to be a very close one. And of course, we have Paul Wallem over at the courthouse to kind of keep us up to date on the county and the city votes. We'll try to keep you up to date on the statewide, some of the national votes as well. Looks like, let's see if I can bring it up real quick. It looks like on the nationwide scale, looks like the Republicans have so far picked up 3 Senate seats. Of course, the magic number for that one is 6.
6, yep.
The 3 that they've picked up so far, I believe, 1 in West Virginia, I think
Arkansas,
1 in Arkansas,
and South Dakota,
and the South Dakota seat. So, South Dakota. Let me see if I can, and of course I'll just kind of give you a heads up. I'm not probably going to be able to see a lot of the state numbers until the Secretary of State brings them up. So Dwayne will probably have to be my crutch on that one. For some reason, the newspaper website's blocking me out. So let me just try to load it again. And you think they would unblock the okay. Before it gets blocked out, okay, Governor Meade has 63% of the vote. I got to see that before it blocked me out. That's where we're at on the governor's race. What I'll have to do is just keep hitting F5 and reloading the page and trying to catch numbers before the pop-up comes up and tells me to subscribe to the Star Tribune.
Well, I have the Tribune up, and they don't show any numbers yet, so.
You might want to hit F5 and reload. I think some of the state races, they have some of the numbers.
F5.
Yeah.
The techie that I am.
That should be, or you can click on the little reload thing, and it should pop up. And, of course, the phone lines are open all night, 682-1270, 682-1270 if you want to call and tell us about your voting experience. I know when I went out at about 5 o'clock, it was fairly busy, and I know at least in my district, because I asked the ladies at the desk, it had been fairly busy. I mean, it's just my one district. They set the tables up over at Camplex. I think I was number 274 at 5 o'clock, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I guess some of the other tables hadn't been quite as busy, but that's pretty good for a pretty good turnout. At least it's looking like it might be a little bit better than the primaries. The primaries, I think, were 47. Yeah, 47% turnout. So it was kind of a light turnout. Of course, that's the kind of to be expected for a midterm election. And let's take I'm just going to kind of go around here and make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, as far as the state races, which do you think is going to be the most interesting race of the night? I mean, some of the state offices are uncontested, but there are a few. Of course, the superintendent of public instruction race to be exact, that's been fairly heavily contested by the Democrats.
Well, and I guess I think in state race, that's probably the one that will be probably the one to watch. They both campaigned hard and both seem to have a pretty solid following. So I guess we're going to just see how it comes out. Jillian Balo, as you know, grew up here in Gillette. And she's very qualified for this job. Mike Sabalas is a Democrat, but is well known in business circles across Wyoming. And so I guess if you want somebody to look at for management skills. Some would probably think maybe Mike Sabalas would be the guy. I think, though, in the end, this is a heavily Republican state, and I expect Jillian Belo will win that race.
Yeah, well, and I think Mike Sabias, he kind of his race was kind of based on his experience as a business leader, but like you mentioned, Jillian Belo does have experience as a teacher and as an administrator with the Department of Education. So I think you're probably right. In a 3-1 Republican state, she probably pulls it out. It'll probably be the closest of the statewide races, though. I think we might have Paul Wallum on the phone. I think I recognize the number. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Paul. I'm down at the courthouse. Just was able to ask Susan here, if Susan Saunders, if she thought the results would be released all at once, as in some past years, or by precincts like the primary was. And it's too soon to tell. They don't make that decision beforehand. They kind of wait to see what kind of percentage of ballots they're getting in all at once. If they're trickling in, they may do precincts. If they come in a big group kind of late, it'll be an all-at-once release, as some past general elections have seen. So too early to tell if it'll be precincts or general, but we'll call the first availability we get.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Paul.
Bye-bye.
Yep. And that's Paul Wallum, our news director. He's going to be over at the courthouse all night to bring us the local and county results. So we'll keep an eye on him, and I'll try to make sure I keep an eye on his number popping up. And now back to the state races. I mean the race for governor. I mean it's probably safe to say that Meade is going to get reelected. I do think that Gosar put up a fairly strong campaign for the amount of money that he had coming in, and the fact that he kind of got into the race a little late.
Well, yeah, and another thing, when you look at that, when you got Matt Meade and Pete Gosar running, and then you got Dee Cousins, a Libertarian, and Don Willis, an Independent, and when every vote that goes to those two is essentially a vote for the Democrat.
Yeah, well, and I think, and of course, the write-in campaign that kind of got relaunched at the last moment as well.
I forgot about that.
A lot of people did. Okay, so I think now, if I'm not mistaken, Pete Gosar he's the governor's pilot, right? I know he's a commercial pilot, but I think he also flies one of the state planes for the governor. I imagine that would probably be a pretty awkward conversation the next time the governor has to take a flight.
Well, looking at it, there's a couple of state planes, and it's possible that they schedule so that doesn't happen. I don't know.
At least for a while. I'm sure they probably get along just fine, but it certainly would be an awkward situation. And of course the national races. I mean, Senator Enzi and Representative Lummis. I don't think they had any serious competition. If I remember right, is it the Democrat in the Senate race or the House race that doesn't even live in Wyoming? I think it was the House race where it doesn't even live in Wyoming. The guy lives in Arizona.
It's Richard Grayson. He's from Elgin, Arizona. It's just amazing to me that he can run because he can't win.
Well, and that's the thing. Even
sounds like something I'd do.
Well, even in the 1 in a million chance that the guy won the election, the results would be invalidated, right?
Right. That's what I mean. If he was actually to get the most votes, he can't serve.
And the governor would end up either calling for now. How does that work in Wyoming? Would the governor appoint?
I don't know. I don't think anybody's really thought that one through because they just don't expect to see much come out of that.
Well, and I think that could be the case. it certainly makes for a fun election night talk. Anyway, I mean, it certainly.
Well, but what it is a sign of is that, you know, when a party has a hard time getting anybody to be a standard bearer for them because we have, you know, so much of a Democrat or so low of a number of Democrats versus the number of Republicans, then it means that somebody can just throw their name in the hat and become the standard bearer just by default.
Well, hasn't Kozar ran multiple times for governor? No,
not that I know.
Not for governor. He was the chairman of the state Democratic Party until this, and I think he stepped down from that. I think he has run for other offices before, but I don't know about governor.
Well, I don't know if he has or not, but I think you're thinking of the Al Hammond from Torrington, that painter that runs all the time.
Well, that could be.
Yeah.
Well, see, and you know the perpetual candidate guys are always interesting characters, but I think it now. I mean, of course, Representative Blickery. I mean, you serve in a supermajority in the House. How does that affect does that affect the morale of the Democrats in the House? I mean, do you hear talk from from your Democratic colleagues in the House that they're concerned about their party?
Well, let's see. My first term there was 20 of them, and my second term in the House out of 60. In my second term there was 18, and my third term there was 8. So that, yeah.
I haven't. I mean,
it's sort of like losing the football game 48-0. You know.
Well, and in that case, I mean, I moved from a state where the Republicans were in the same situation, and they're just going nuts. I mean, I tell the story all the time, but there was one situation where the sheriff in the county that I lived, physically attacked a county commissioner at a meeting. I mean, kicked him in the groin and hit him with a notebook and all kinds of stuff, I mean, at least in Delaware, the Republican Party's falling apart, and they're kind of in the same situation. I don't know if the Democrats here have that kind of internal strife, but it's got to be a pretty tough situation to be in.
Well, you know, looking at it from a perspective of just looking at why the biggest anchor for the Democrats in Wyoming is the president.
Yeah.
The president that we have right now, and Obama's just an anchor for them because he just pulls them down. They can't, whether they're actually reasonably conservative and business-minded people or not, they can't be heard because all people see is the D, and then look at a national administration that's just tearing our business world apart in this country.
Well, and let's be honest, I think I think some of that frustration is shared with some of the Democrats here in Wyoming. I mean, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but I mean, I've heard a few people mention that this is not how they want to be seen. But you know, that's kind of what happens when I guess you attach your name to a party. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we had a Democrat as a governor. The last 2 governors before Matt Mead, right?
Well, just one, and then there was a Republican, and then before that were 2 Democrats. Yeah, and he was a good governor. This county fared very well under Dave Friedenthal as governor, and this town did too. And he was, of course, a relatively conservative person that was business-minded and is business-minded and did a good job as governor. And now we have a governor that also is business-minded and has done a great job. So,
well, and I think we probably won't be talking about a whole lot of Democrats winning races tonight. And it's not because they're, wild flaming liberals, because most Democrats in Wyoming aren't. It's because of the national party and the president kind of dragging the entire ship down.
Yeah, in some states it doesn't drag anybody down.
Well,
but anyway, in Wyoming, it'll be interesting because down in the Sweetwater County area and in Rock Springs, the races last time that Republicans won were very close. And the same Democrats are running against the same Republicans this time. So it'll be interesting to see if our party holds those House seats.
Well, and Sweetwater County, of course, at one point was heavily Democratic.
Very much so, because of railroad unions, probably more than anything, and unions in some of their mines and stuff. And now I think that they're about a 50-50 split in how they're registered. So it'll be interesting to see how those races go.
Okay, and we're closing up on the top of the hour, so we'll probably we'll run a little bit over so we can just play the recorded news. I guess the important thing to remember tonight is that even with the races that are uncontested, and actually my screen just updated, +4 nationwide now. Let's take a look and see. Okay. Louisiana looks like it's going to go to a runoff. New Hampshire looks like the Democrat did win in New Hampshire. Okay, I saw a +4, but I'm not sure exactly where the fourth one is coming from. Okay. In the nationwide races again, West Virginia, Arkansas, and the third one was South Dakota. So
maybe it's Montana, except it's too early.
Yeah, it's too early up there.
Well, and if I remember right, that one I think the Republican had about a 97% chance of winning, but haven't. Let me just refresh my map here if I can, and see if Montana's come in. Their polls close at 7 as well, right?
Right.
And okay, and then looks like the internet might be completely out here, so we might be I might be completely at the mercy of.
I don't see anything on the one I'm watching for the national. I don't see anything from Montana being reported yet.
Okay, so
it would have to be somewhere in Central Time Zone or Eastern. It's just too early to be in our time zone.
Okay, I'm just going to kind of take a look through social media, and hopefully none of these are inaccurate. But looks like reporting from this is David Mayberry from the Star Tribune, says Baylor leads Ceballos in Natrona County 53-47. 21 of 46 precincts reporting. AP has called Meade, Lummus, NZ, called all of those races already. Let's see. And another, let's see. Okay, here's another report. 1 of 482 precincts. So this is statewide. This is from a guy from Wyoming Public Radio. Baylor leads Ceballos with 71%, but that's just one precinct, so who knows where that precinct is from. That's pretty much
one precinct with 17 votes.
Well, okay, so I guess about 2 people voted for Ceballos in that one. I guess we probably shouldn't call that race yet. Okay, and
it's way too early yet, as far as the state.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any. I don't see any other state results coming in. So we'll kind of we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, one of the other big national races, Wendy Davis running for governor in Texas. Looks like she lost handily.
I think she's history, isn't she?
Well, she probably won't go away, but she's going to lose the race. That's the thing about Wendy Davis. She probably isn't going to go anywhere.
We have one of those here.
Well, we don't want to go there, do we?
Well, I think everybody knows that whole story. I'm ready on the delay button. Okay, we're coming up on the top of the hour. So why don't we take the top of the hour break? We'll listen to Fox News and see if they have any update on the national races, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. News Talk 1270 KIML. I'm Don Carpenter, and this is our live general election coverage. It's brought to you by Camco Federal Credit Union, Automatic Transmission Systems and Drivetrain, Doyle Surveying, Larry and Sharon's Place and Wright, Powder River Shredders, LLC, Spearfish Motors, Powder River Espresso Coffee Shop, James Tire Service, and the Spirit Hall Ice Arena. And well, some big news over the top of the hour. And of course, if you're just joining us, we're joined in studio by former Mayor Dwayne Evenson and Representative Greg Blickery. We're just giving you our analysis of the national, state, county, local races. Montana, Fox News called Montana. So on the nationwide side, the Republicans are within that magic number of 6. They're only one away. Fox News has called Montana and Colorado, so they're within one seat.
Right. They need to pick up the one more, and then I couldn't find anything, or I didn't take the time yet to look up on Georgia and see where Georgia's at. But I would guess that that's going to be a runoff, just like the state of Louisiana, and so we won't know. I think the Georgia one isn't until January sometime.
Well, and I think the runoff on December 6th in Louisiana, so that one's going to be
okay.
That one's going to be a while, and I imagine just the amount of ads that are going to go into those two states is it's going to be incredible. Colorado, I don't know. Do either of you have cable TV or do you satellite? I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Colorado TV stations, but they were just. The last month and a half, it's just been wall-to-wall political ads.
Yeah, it's a good deal for your industry.
Well, it certainly is.
Absolutely.
We make a lot of money this time of year. We do make a lot of money. I think at least in Colorado, I mean, they did kind of switch things up near the end, but the Udall campaign ran wall-to-wall women's issues ads the entire time until about a week ago. And I guess it was polling bad or something, and they started getting some backlash from it. But I guess in this case, it didn't really make a difference. Let's see if I can find okay, I can't find the official numbers, but Fox News has called that race. On the local side, we're starting to kind of get a trickle from some of the counties. The governor's race, you can pretty much call that one only 17 precincts, but Governor Meade is up by about 40 points. So that one's probably safe to call. Only one precinct still reporting on the superintendent of public instruction, and it's only a 17-vote precinct, so we can't even comment on that one yet. Senator Enzi, Representative Lummis, all pretty much safe in their seats. Let's take a look here. I'm just looking at some of the other races. Looks like nothing from anywhere close to us has come in yet. And this is something we actually I don't think we've talked about this yet. And I don't know if I talked about it at all on the show, but there was a constitutional amendment on the ballot for allowing non-resident trustees for the University of Wyoming. I don't know a whole lot about that issue. I mean, is that something that the governor was looking for, or the legislature, or?
Well, and actually, it was something that the Board of Trustees from the university asked to have on. Well, first of all, to get it on the ballot, so people could decide. And what it's about really is there's a lot of talent that comes out of the University of Wyoming and then moves to other parts of the country because that's where they get the kind of jobs that they're trained for. And to be able to use some of that talent because they're still really interested in helping the University of Wyoming grow and get better. It's just see if the people of Wyoming want to have people that don't live within our border, a couple of them, just to have a different perspective on that board. And that's what it's about. And I don't know that it's an earth-shaking thing either way, if it passes or doesn't, but it takes that the amendment has to pass for that to happen.
That's in the Wyoming Constitution.
And does that increase then the number of board members?
No, the board would stay the same size. It just means that up to 2 of them could be appointed.
And there's a total of 12 now?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'm not...
Because I had heard some arguments yesterday that people weren't in favor of it because they said they were going to increase the size of the board by allowing the governor to do that. And I said, well, that's not the way that I read it, but I knew I'd get a chance to visit with you tonight.
Yeah,
so.
No, it should be the same exact size board. Okay. It won't increase the size of the board. It's just, the University of Wyoming needs to compete with universities all over the world now. And in order for them to do that, they're saying, well, we could use some perspectives that look at us from outside the state. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. And whether you're for it or against it, it'll probably keep coming back, or periodically would come back for the same argument that, you just heard. I don't think, when we voted on that one in the House and the Senate, it was mostly like, well, let's let the people hear the arguments and see what they decide.
Well, and the fact that I really hadn't heard any controversy about it, I doubt it's a very controversial issue, but it was out there, and I guess there's only one precinct that's reporting that it came in, and so far it's ahead, but it's again that 17-vote precinct, so yeah. And only 16 people voted on that one. So one person had no idea. So
well, it is interesting because I haven't really heard a lot of discussion from people on it one way or the other. And even though it was an issue on the floor, in the House when I was there, it was the issue for us was, should we bring it forth and let the people vote on it? Other than that, I haven't actually had any discussions for a few days about it, other than people asking me what it was about.
Right. And for everyone listening, either online on the stream, again, if you're listening outside of town and it's a little bit scratchy because we're at low power, feel free to go to basonsradio.com. We are streaming the show, so if you're able to get to a computer or a smartphone or something like that, you can stream the show and it'll be a little bit clearer. Of course, the number 682-1270, 682-1270. If anybody wants to call and tell us who they supported tonight, if any candidates are out there and want to call and just chit-chat with us, feel free. The lines are going to be open all night. Maybe if you have any questions about any of these races, I think we'll definitely try to answer them. And we're just kind of sorting through all of the information as it comes in. The state's a little bit slow trickling in, but the polls have only been closed for a little over an hour, so we'll just kind of keep an eye on how everything is going there. Let's take a look here, see if I can find any further information on any of the national races while we're at it. Looks like we're looking at still in the Senate in the Senate +5 for the Republicans. Again, those states are West Virginia, South Dakota, Arkansas, Montana, and Colorado. They've all been called by Fox News. On the House side, there hasn't been a whole lot of talk about the House side, of course, but looks like the Republicans on the House side might be looking at their largest majority in quite some time.
So like in Kansas, if Kansas has the winner come out under 50%, they'll have a runoff too, won't they?
No, the only two states that I followed that would have runoffs will be Louisiana and Georgia. Now, I could be wrong, and somebody could correct that, but that's the only two that I've heard any of the national media talking about or anything. So my guess is that right now in Kansas, with 25% reporting, Pat Roberts is leading that 49.81 to 45.79, just about by four whole points.
And that does look like it looks like Louisiana and Georgia are the only states that at least that are up, that are close, that are gonna that would do a runoff. And now I mean, of course, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Dwayne Evenson and Greg Blickery. I never really understood the idea of a runoff. Of course, most states that have them, if one candidate doesn't get above 50%, it automatically triggers a runoff. And I never really understood the reasoning behind that. I guess that's just to make sure that whoever does get elected has the support of the majority of the voters.
That's what I'm thinking. It must be in their constitution that they want.
Yeah. Well,
to have a majority. And that's why, like, even in for mayor or city council positions, you have that first vote. You might have 3 or 4 people running, and then you have the final 2 run.
Well,
the second go around.
And now I will say the nonpartisan method works pretty well here in the city, just because it's such a heavily Republican majority in the county. All the city offices being nonpartisan, at least that makes sure that you have 2 candidates on the ballot most of the time, which is that's a pretty good system.
Well, actually, I think it's good when positions are contested. I don't think it's a good thing when you have positions that nobody runs. Only one person is running. It's just better for all of us when people run for office and we have contested races.
Well, and you certainly get a lot more dialogue and a lot more conversation, and whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, they have that right, and they bring out topics and issues that are important to others, maybe not to the masses, but to others that you have to have at least the dialogue. Then it's the same thing as the 1% sales tax this year. The polls are closed, and so we can talk about that a little bit. But I think the guy that approached that, certainly you have to give him the opportunity to vote no. You have to give him some credit for at least standing up and saying, if I've got to do something, I'm going to do it. And he did that by himself and stood up, and we've had great conversations. I mean, Greg, I don't know how many times you've been on the radio supporting it, and I think I've been here 3 times talking about it. But it created that dialogue, and he got his point across, and we'll see how it turned out. But I think, like you say, contested races are better races, and it's better for the community.
They are. And folks, we don't have any results at all yet on any of our local races. Hopefully we'll be getting some soon, but we haven't got any yet.
Yeah, and Paul Wallem will be calling in with some of the local results of the county and the city. Since you mentioned the 1%, I guess we can talk a little bit about the campaign that was run against the 1% tax, and everybody saw the signs around town, and we did try to get someone to come in and talk on my morning show about that, but unfortunately, I guess scheduling didn't work out. But I do think that it is a good thing, and someone actually came out and ran an organized campaign. And we got good questions from callers during the morning show when we did talk about the 1%. So that way, when the people go out and they make their they make their votes on election day, it's a more informed vote.
Well, and the 1% over the last 30 some years has taken this town from 7,000 people and dirt roads to what you got now. And it has been really well managed by all the different people that have been in the county positions and the city positions over the years. And yeah, sure, everybody doesn't always agree exactly with what they do, but they do follow closely to what people say they would like to have on the polls, or excuse me, on the surveys. And to their credit, a couple of years ago, even actually a few times now, they could have actually voted to make it permanent and never did because they wanted the people to have the right to continue voting on it. And I think that was a solid decision.
Yeah, I think that it's been handled very well, and it certainly has. And even as much of an advocate that I am for the 1%, and I'm sure others feel the same way. There might be some places that I question where the money's being spent, but when you look at the umbrella and everything that's under it and all of the good that it's brought to our community, the roads, the infrastructure, the parks and beautification, everything that it's brought to our community, I mean, I have to say, it's the best tax you can have when 100% of it stays in your own community and you get to decide where that money's going to be spent.
Well, and another thing about the 1% is we get to vote on it and we get to use it for the things that people like. But another thing about it is that if you go to any community in another state around us, they have higher sales tax than we do, and we have to pay their sales tax. And when they come here, they're helping us. It's kind of a trade. We're there, we buy something, and we help pay theirs. And when they come through here, they're using our roads and do it, some of our services, and they're helping us pay ours. And it's kind of that way all around us, except for straight north of us.
Well, but on the other hand, they have a host of other taxes that make up for that. You have to get that money from someplace, and consumption taxes end up being, I think, the fairest way to handle it.
Oh, I do too, because, if I buy $100 worth of stuff, I pay my share for that, and if you buy $40 worth of stuff, you pay your share for that. I mean, we all are paying our share.
Well, and if you don't like it, you can always choose not to participate. I mean, you don't have to buy stuff. I mean, or if you're like me and have no money, you can't buy stuff. So, I certainly now I didn't see, and I could be wrong about this. And of course, if anybody wants to correct me, feel free to call in. But I don't recall hearing any of the candidates that I've talked to throughout the process of the primary or the general election being vocally against the 1%. I mean, I imagine I imagine across the state, for the most part, most of the elected officials on both sides like the 1% tax in all the different counties.
Well, they do, because if they don't have that, they got to find another place to be able to provide services and any extra services that people might want. The social services around here would really suffer without it. And we need those, because I think it costs a heck of a lot less to help try to prevent people from getting in trouble and having problems than it does to house them in prisons and places like that.
Well, and I think a lot of people are certainly aware of that. We'll just say, okay. I just updated some of the statewide results.
What percent do you have?
I have looks like for most of these races, 103 of 482 reporting. So we're starting to get a good number of precincts reporting. That superintendent of public instruction race is closing up. Right now, Jillian Balo leads Mike Ceballos 58% to 42%. And I don't know where these precincts are, so I don't know if they're, in the bluer parts of the state. But it's certainly a lot closer than all of the other state races. Ed Murray, 77%. Governor Meade, 63%. Looks like, and I think that's really the only contested statewide races right now. So it looks like Ed Murray will probably end up winning Secretary of State, and I think he's the only Secretary of State candidate that I didn't get a chance to meet during the primary process because he came in the week that I was gone.
Yeah, we interviewed him. He came in, Tom and I.
Yeah,
we interviewed him. He did a good job while he was on here, and I actually think there was some really solid candidates for that position. Ed Buchanan ran a good race, and there were some more that did pretty well too. So
yeah. Well, and now I did see Murray out standing in the median on 59 by the exit one day. I guess he was in town and he was doing some other kind of event, and he was standing out in the median, holding a sign, waving at people.
Yeah, actually, he was doing an ad out there.
Okay.
If you noticed, there were some people taking. It was a TV ad.
Oh, okay.
They were making.
I drove by. I might be in that ad, so I'll have to try to take a look and see if I can find that one. Let's take a call real quick, and maybe we'll take a break here in a minute. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Yeah, I've been offline here a minute, so I haven't been cut into this. How are we doing on the mayor's race?
We have nothing on the mayor's race yet.
Nothing.
It doesn't look like they're reporting those votes by precinct. It looks like it'll probably be like in the last couple of years where everything gets reported at one time. So I would guess around 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that, we'll probably get everything that's been local will come through at one time.
And you guys will be on the air?
Oh, yeah, we'll be here until it's done.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we can
have a great night.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, and if you're just joining us, Paul Wallum, our news director, is over at the courthouse doing the county and the city results. He'll call in as soon as they start reporting it. He didn't know for sure if they were going to trickle some out or release them all at the same time. So we don't know anything about any of the local races yet. So we're just kind of going on the statewide and the nationwide races.
So, Ed, we were talking a little bit earlier about the constitutional amendment for UW. With 18% of the vote in, there's 69% against and 31% for.
Which I think isn't that surprising to me. It's the kind of issue. It's like, well, we don't need somebody from somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, and when I read the way it was worded, that's the first thing I thought. I thought a lot of people, especially people that have been here their entire lives, is that something that's kind of ingrained in Wyomingites that have been here for a while? That we don't need outside help, and we can get our own people.
Well, if we had too much outside help, we'd have a non-smoking state. We couldn't carry weapons. We couldn't drive 80 miles an hour because we would be breaking some EPA regulation or something else that somebody else brought to the state and said, "My God, where I came from, we couldn't do this. I think this is a good thing." And you never know how those grassroots movements start. So I can certainly understand where the vote is on the amendment.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you make a good point with too much outside help. I mean, you certainly don't want to bring any more of Colorado in here. Okay, we have another call. Let's take this real quick. I think it might be Paul. News Talk 1270. You're on the air.
Hey, it's Paul. I've got no results for you yet, but there is only one bag remaining on its way out to the courthouse. So all the precincts but one are ready to be counted here, and we'll hopefully have something in the next half hour, maybe 9:15. Some are optimistic about 9. So, okay.
Hey, thanks a lot, Paul.
All right, thank you.
So
they're going pretty quickly tonight.
Yeah, actually they are. So here's the results that means absolutely nothing to the election in Gillette. However, the 1% sales tax option in Casper, which I know I talked to some friends in Casper, were concerned. Right now, it looks like it passed 71% to 29% opposed.
Now, in Casper, didn't they also have something for a lodging tax on the ballot as well?
Yes.
I don't know a whole lot about Casper politics, but I did see something about that in one. I think it might have even been on TV in Casper, but that seems to be something that's going on down there as well.
Yeah.
And I can't find anything on it.
I'll tell you here. Just give me a second.
Okay. And I don't.
The lodging.
Oh, go ahead.
They're actually great question, because they're approving a 4% lodging tax, where ours is only 2%, but theirs is 4%, and they're at 71. Same thing, 71% for the approval of the lodging tax, and 29% opposed.
So it's probably most of the same voters.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm looking. I have nothing on any of the local state house or Senate races as well. A couple of those are uncontested. I know. Let's see. I think Ogden Driscoll in State Senate District 1 was uncontested. Wasserberger in Senate District 23 was uncontested.
Noreen
Kasparic, Eric Barlow. Bill Paulnell, of course, the sheriff, moving on to the state house. He's also uncontested. He had a fairly close primary campaign. Unseated the incumbent, of course. Troy Mader, of course, took over a partial term and then was defeated in the primary. And then Roy Edwards, House District 53, is also uncontested.
So like in Casper, some of their returns are coming back for the state house. In District 36, Gerald Gay, the Republican, is ahead, 54% to 46%, and it looks like all the precincts have reported there, so it looks like Gerald Gay has won. And then in District 37, Steve Harshman, who is the chairman of appropriations, looks like he's got like 73% of the vote over Anthony Allen. And then Bunky Laux, a Republican, it looks like he's easily won too with, well, it's only 3 of 6 precincts there, and then Harshman's 6 of 9, but it looks like they're both on their way because Bunky's got like about 63% of the vote.
Now, did Representative Gay shave off his beard? Did he finally shave that off after that whole thing was settled? Did he shave his beard off?
Well, you know that I haven't actually seen Gerald all summer because he's not on the same committees I'm on.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you, and I didn't ask anybody.
He did have a pretty wild beard going on. Last time I saw him back in February, it was one of those Duck Dynasty beards. Looks like. And looks like most of the results that we have coming in looks like they're from the Casper area. Actually, it looks like most of the districts. I think some Riverton. I think if I remember right, Gerald Gay's district is Riverton, right? Or Lander. Might be Lander.
Who's that?
Representative Gay.
He's from Casper.
Oh, it is Casper. Okay. And I'm trying to. I think that's pretty much what we have right now on the statewide front. Why don't we take a short break, and we'll get caught up on things during the break, and give us a chance to kind of catch our breath and try to get some more results for you. Of course, we have live election coverage all night until all the results come in. Anyway, so we'll probably be here till 10 or 10:30. Hopefully, not a whole lot later than that, because I have to be back at 6 o'clock in the morning. News Talk 1270 KIML. News Talk 1270 KIML. Welcome back to our election coverage. I'm Don Carpenter. Our coverage tonight is brought to you by Camco Federal Credit Union, Automatic Transmission Systems and Drivetrain, Doyle Surveying, Larry and Sharon's Place in Wright, Powder River Shredders, LLC, Spearfish Motors, Powder River Espresso Coffee Shop, James Tire Service, and the Spirit Hall Ice Arena. Try hockey for free. And during the break, I just saw this on Drudge. It looks like it's only being called by the Des Moines TV station, but it looks like Joni Ernst has won, at least projected to win the Iowa race, at least according to WHO TV, and take that for what you will. But if that's the case, that's 6 seats for the Republicans in the Senate. So it's shaping up to be the night that pretty much most of us expected.
Hoped for.
Well,
yeah, except for what we're looking at shows her behind by 8 points. So
by 8 points?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what kind of.
But there's only 29% of this says it's in.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the local races while we're waiting for the results to come in.
Well, Don, one of the things that struck me when you were talking about the fine sponsors that we have tonight is how busy Powder River Shredding might be tomorrow.
I have no idea where you're going with that, and I don't. Well, we'll talk about it off the air. Okay, so of course, the big race, and the one probably the majority of people listening tonight are waiting for, the mayor's race, which I think it came down to. Is it now? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. It came down to one issue, it seems like, and the one issue is whether the voters wanted a mayor that was I don't want to say the word conservative, because I think both of the candidates are conservative candidates, but one that would be more I guess a mayor. The question is how much you want the mayor and the city to be involved in proactive growth. We'll just say, well,
I think
big projects.
I guess my view on that is that for a lot of people, it was a choice of which one would be more progressive, maybe not even progressive. Look for planning for the future more than the other.
Yeah. And that's why I didn't want to use the word progressive, because it has such a negative connotation. At least these days, when you hear the word progressive, you think of something completely different. But that is the word that's been used a good bit.
Anyway, that looks like it. We do have a whole lot of local elections tonight. A whole lot of them, starting with, the state Senate race with Jeff Wasserberger, and nobody is running against him. And then in the House of Representatives, we really only have one contested race, and that's Scott Clem and Billy Montgomery. Scott being the Republican and Billy the Democrat. And they both have worked hard in this election, and it will be kind of interesting to see how that one plays out, percentage of votes. We have a heavily Republican district, but they both have worked hard, and it'll be interesting to see how the vote comes.
Well, and Billy Montgomery's pretty well respected around town. I mean, he's been involved in quite a few things around town. If I remember right, I don't know if he still is, but I think he was chairman of the Democratic Party for Campbell County. At least at one time he was. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, he may have been. I actually don't know that, but he's a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, and he's been active in a lot of things in the area. And Scott Clem works with kids at the Yes House too, and he's pretty well known in some circles for that. And so, I mean, it's an interesting race. They're
and of course
going head to head here, and it's like the only state race we have for our positions that's actually contested. So it would be interesting to see how that one turns out.
Well, and of course that is also the seat that was formerly held by Speaker Lubnow as well.
Right.
I mean, as tradition goes, I mean, after serving as Speaker, the Speaker normally retires, and Speaker Love now, of course, holding to that tradition and retired after his term as Speaker. So that seat was open, and that's one of the contested races here as well. Of course, House District 52, again, that's uncontested now. It was contested during the primary. Of course, Sheriff Paul Nell is going to probably, I think it's safe to say, win that seat as well.
Yeah, and for county commissioner, we have the 3 Republicans running straight up, and so it's pretty likely that all 3, Matt Avery, Rusty Bell, and Mickey Schober, will be there, and Matt and Mickey are both incumbents, and Rusty's a newcomer that worked hard and got the most votes in the primary.
Right. And another one that might be closer than a lot of Democrat versus Republican elections here in Campbell County is the county attorney race. Of course, Lisa Finke is the Democratic challenger. Ron Worthwine is the Republican. They're both going for an open seat. They're both deputy county attorneys. I think Ron Worthwine is the chief deputy, so he was second in command in that office. It'll be interesting to see how that one turns out as well.
Well, and that's a position that some say shouldn't be a party office, but I don't know. I guess I like to know what party they are. Then county sheriff Susan Saunders, she's working, her and her crew are working late tonight, and they started early today, and they've been working actually really hard for a while on this election. Our county clerk and our election clerk, they just really work hard and do a really good job for us. And we're going to have, we don't have anything yet, but when we get it, we're going to have it all. And they do a good job. And all those people that went out there and sat as judges at the elections today, thanks to them, because we need them to do that. And it's, not easy to go out there and spend a whole long day watching people vote. And they all did it, and they were all pleasant, and it was very nice.
Well, and I will just give a quick shout out to the ladies that helped me out at my table. The one poor lady hadn't even had a chance to go to the bathroom all day. I mean, she gets up and they get a bunch of people come in. So it was at least in some of the districts, it was a fairly busy election day. We might see a little bit better turnout than some might have expected.
It'll be interesting to see the total vote.
See what the percentage is this year, yeah.
It looked a lot busier when you went there, because when we went, Jackie and I went at about 9:30, and the parking lot was packed, and lots of people were going in and out and in there. So it didn't look like that in August.
Well, and now I went at 5 o'clock. The parking lot was still packed, and I had to do an address change too. So I mean, that was I had to. I think there were maybe 2 people in front of me in line. I mean, I was in and out in less than 10 minutes.
They were probably trying to check to see if you were a legal citizen.
Well, I did get a little bit of a tan on vacation this year. So, but they do such a great job of getting people through. I mean, you see in other parts of the country where the computers are recording votes in the wrong places, and people try to use those touch screens. It seems like the old-fashioned paper ballot, where you just mark in everything, makes it a lot simpler and quicker too.
And of course we've been talking a lot about the mayor's race, and it's probably the one that's captured the most attention. But all 3 of the wards for our city council are contested races, and Dwayne, that's good to see.
Well, it is. I was going to say that they have to be contested, but they don't have to be. It's the top 2 vote getters. So if nobody signs up in the primary to run against the incumbent, then they would be unopposed also at the general. But yeah, it's like we were talking earlier. It's good to see contested races because it brings out the differences in what people's thoughts are, their philosophies, and then the masses in their wards, or the people in their wards, get the opportunity to cast their votes for what the mindset is is most like theirs. And so I think it's a good thing that they're contested and really good candidates. I don't see anybody on there that wouldn't be dedicated to the community and the city to do the best that they could do.
Yeah, and Ward 1 is, Dan Barks, and Dan Barks is, of course, extremely well known here in town because he was the manager of Parks and Recreation for the county for many years, and then the manager of Camplex for many years. And he's running against a young guy, Caleb Nygaard, who's run a good campaign. He's worked hard. And then in Ward 2, we have Tim Karsrud, who was appointed this last year and has done a good job since he's been there, and he's running against Mike Conway. And actually, interestingly enough, it looks like to me like they live pretty close to each other, running against each other. And then Ward 3 is Robin Kuntz, who's been on the city council for quite some time and is very popular personally. And then there's Julie Simon, who's the manager of the Campbell County Chamber of Commerce and is well known too. So in all those positions, we have people working hard to try to serve the community.
Well, yeah, and again, it does go to speak to whoever set the system up. That even in these local races where everyone might be of the same party, there's always at least two candidates on the ballot for these city positions. It gives you a choice, and a lot of cases the candidates might be similar on a lot of issues, but there's always maybe that one or two issues that they're different on, and that gives you a choice between those two. And of course the other local race, and for those of you listening, you're probably listening online if you're in Wright, because signal doesn't quite reach there when it's dark. But the mayor of Wright race was an interesting one, because this is one where the write-in candidate actually ended up in the primary getting the most votes and got himself on the ballot this time, which is that's a pretty neat story.
And Tib Albin and Ralph Kingan have both been mayors for Wright and both done a good job as mayor of Wright, so it is an interesting race. And locally back on the county scene, we mentioned Susan Saunders, but County Treasurer Becky Brazelton is the only one on the ballot at this point, and she's stepping up from being one of the two chief deputy treasurers to the job of treasurer, and she's very well qualified for this job, and it's interesting that she's going to be there. And County Assessor now Troy Clements is running again. He's an incumbent, and nobody ran against him, so he'll continue to be the assessor, and he's done just fine. And Cheryl Chitwood also is somebody that moved up from the top management in the clerk of district court to the position. Nobody's running against her, but Cheryl will do a good job for us.
Oh, okay. And of course, some of these other smaller races, of course, the school district board, that's that's a position where you vote for three, and the top three vote getters will end up with those positions. I recognize, I know some of the names on here. I don't know a lot about some of these candidates. So
yeah, but I wouldn't call that a smaller position. I mean, there's nothing more important than our kids for one thing, but also they have a very large budget. The school district budget is very large. These people are managing a very large budget and a huge amount of people. So it's an important position to be a school district board of trustee.
And as fast as the school district is growing, I mean, it really is, if I remember right, 1,100 just first graders this year. It's growing at a massive rate. So they're going to have their hands full over the next couple of years. Let's take a call. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
This is Paul. Can you hear me?
Hey, Paul, what's up?
I am told the results I have are missing one precinct and the early voters. So this is missing basically two precincts. So
Okay, let me get my papers here in order so we can kind of get them in. So this is not the full results, just missing a couple precincts.
This is missing the Little Powder precinct and then the early voters.
Okay, so and we know
the absentees.
Yeah, the absentees of course made a difference in a couple races last time, so we'll have to keep that in mind. Okay,
we'll start with the mayor of Gillette. We have Louise Carter King at 50.5% and Kevin McGrath at 45.7%.
Paul, would you say those again? I was a little behind.
Louise Carter King, 50.5%. Kevin McGrath, 45.7%. The vote totals on that one is 2,509 for Louise Carter King, 2,273 for Kevin McGrath.
Okay.
Right Mayor Ralph Kingen, 63.8%, and Tim Albin, 34.3%. Kingen at 247 and Albin at 133.
Could you give me the percentage for Ralph Kingen again?
63.8 and Albin 34.3.
Okay.
I'm going to jump to county attorney because some thought that might be one of the closer contested ones, but that is showing 68% for Ron Werthwein and 26% for Finke. Vote totals are over 5,600 for Werthwein and just over 2,200 for Finke.
Okay, so 68 point for Werthwein, it was 68 point.
68.1,
okay.
Basically 0.2 for Werthwein and 24.4 for Finke.
Okay.
1%, well, that was Proposition 1, is that correct?
Yes, that's Proposition 1.
4 is 58%, 0.7. Against 40%, 0.3. The vote tally on the Proposition 1 would be 4,894 for it, 3,353 against.
Okay, and the I don't know, is the Amendment 1 in there, the UW thing?
Amendment A is showing 70% against.
Okay.
Which is what we saw.
Okay, and that seems to be kind of what the state's trending. So okay.
Jumping back to the city, I'll go through these a little faster because they're not expected to be as close. Ward 1, 58% for Barks and 31% for Nygaard. Ward 2, Karsrud, 52.4%. And Mike Conway, 33%. And that's, for the vote totals on that one, Karsrud is 796, Conway is 492. And the write-in's got 3 votes on
What are the vote counts in Ward 1?
Ward 1, 884 for Barks and 476 for Nygaard.
Thank you.
Ward 3, Robin Kuntz has 55.4% with 1,063 votes. Julie Simon, who has 35%, had 683 votes at this point. And again, we're missing one of the precincts and the absentees. So these are not final yet. House 31, Scott Clem, 76%. He got over 1,300 votes. Bill Montgomery, about 19%. He had 329.
Okay.
And I was thinking the other closer ones were expected to maybe be the cemetery or school board. Is there any other ones that I should be searching for quicker?
Maybe the hospital board.
Hospital board, okay. I only have 4 sheets to go through, so I should be able to find it. Here is the school district. Oh, I forgot the right council person. Danny Preston seems to be the top vote getter with 26%, has 199 votes. This is a vote for 2. The next person would be Glenn Holt, about 24%, with 183 votes, followed by Robert Gallup, 20.3% with 153 votes. Angie Jensen had 16% with 124 votes. Do you need those again?
Please.
Okay. Preston seems to be the top vote getter for right councilperson with about 26%. That's 199 votes. Glenn Holt, about 24% with 183 votes. Robert Gallup, 20.3% with 157 votes. And Jensen, about 16% with 124 votes.
How about school district?
School district, let's see, that's a vote for 3. That's pretty close in the top 2 right now. Andrea Latke, about 17% with 4,229 votes. Ann Oakes with 16.6%, about 4,153 votes. Foreman, 15.6%, 3,891 votes. And I think the next one would be, that's close as well, Jennifer Brenner, 9.9%, 2,480 votes. And John Pettijohn, 9.4%, with 2,350. Would you like that one again?
You missed one person.
Yeah, do you have a numbers for Dale?
Dale Janota, 16.6%. And, Dale, am I pronouncing Janota right? Do you know, Greg?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, that is 6%, 1,552 votes. I'll go through those percentages again. Latke, 16.9, Oakes, 16.6, Foreman, 15.6, Brenner, 9.9, Pettijohn, 9.4, and Janota, 6.2. So that one we'll have to wait on the last 2 counts to come in, I would think. And we'll move on to cemetery. I think that's a vote for 3, and we had 3 candidates. So the top vote getters appear to be Burquest, Hastings, and Fisk in that order.
How about the hospital board?
Hospital, 2-year. Top vote getter Alan Mitchell so far, 48%. He had 4,038 votes at this point. Cliff Ritchie, 28.6% so far with the 2 precincts, or the 1 precinct and the absentee not in yet, 2,380. Hospital 4-year, top vote getter so far, Harsaw, 16.4, followed by Alan Todd at 13.6, Harvey Jackson at 12.6, George Dunlop at 10.7, and Jerome Walters at 10.2. The vote totals for Hospital District 4-year, Hartsaw is at 6%, 16% with 5,477. Alan Todd was at about 14% with 4,555. Harvey Jackson at about 12.6% had 4,207. George Dunlop, who had 10.7% with 2 more to go, had 3,585. And Jerome Walters is at 10.2% right now with 3,404. And I'm going to repeat the mayor one here once I get that sheet back in front of me. Louise Carter King had the lead in that. And again, with the 1 precinct still out there and the write-in votes, mayor was Louise Carter King at 2,509 votes, Kevin McGrath at 2,273. Any others you want repeated again?
I think we have them. So it's about a 230 vote difference on the mayor's race right now.
Yes, and that appears to be one of the closer ones, along with the hospital and the right council people. And I'm going to go wait for those final 2 to come in.
Hey, thanks a lot, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Yep.
Thanks, Paul. Hey, Paul, you don't have any idea how many absentee ballots there are.
I think we lost him.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll ask him when he calls in next time. Why don't we do this? Let's take a top of the hour break. We'll wait for the rest of those results again. That's the local results with one precinct and the absentee ballots still out, so they should be in fairly soon. News Talk 1270 KIML. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Don Carpenter on Gillette's Heritage Station. News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. And welcome back to our live election coverage. I'm Don Carpenter. I'm joined by Dwayne Evenson and Greg Blickery. And this is all brought to you by Camco Federal Credit Union, Automatic Transmission Systems and Drivetrain, Doyle Surveying, Larry and Sharon's Place in Wright, Powder River Shredders LLC, Spearfish Motors, Powder River Espresso Coffee Shop, James Tire Service, and the Spirit Hall Ice Arenas. Try hockey for free. And I think we're going to go right back to the phones. I believe we have Paul Wallum with us again. Good evening, Paul.
Hello. We have 37 of 37 precincts reported. Absentee ballots have not been tallied yet with these results. So which one would you like to start on? What are the callers interested in?
Mayor, definitely.
Gillette Mayor, the percentages stayed the same. A Louise Carter King vote count, 2,509. Kevin McGrath, 2,273. I'll repeat the vote count. Louise Carter King, 2,509. Kevin McGrath, 2,273. That was 50.5% for Louise Carter King and showing 45.7% for Kevin McGrath.
So it must have been a small district.
That was a little Powder area.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Well, so then, I mean, we're not going to have any city council changes. So
council, there's no changes showing on there. I think some of the closer ones were maybe the school district and the cemetery. You want to jump to those?
Yes. Well, school district and hospital district.
We'll start with the school district. Ann Oaks has 16.6%. And she's trailing Latke by 16.9%. The vote totals on those: Latke 4,266, Oaks 4,188. This is a vote for 3, so let me find the next third biggest one. Dave Foreman, 15.6% with 3,930. And following up would be Jennifer Brenner at 9.9%. And Pettijohn 9.3%, and Genoda at 6.2%. He's trying to by the hospital board. Hospital District 2, that was a pretty big gap for Mitchell, still at 48%, and leading by almost 1,900 votes there. Hospital District 4-year. Top vote getter looks to be percentage-wise Sarah Hartsaw, 16.4%. Vote tally for her, 5,522. And again, this was without the absentees. Next percentage would be Alan Todd, 13.6%. Vote total, 4,577. Harvey Jackson has 12.6%. 4,233. George Dunlop, 10.7% with 3,616 so far. Jerome Waters, 10.2%, 3,421. The cemetery was a vote for 3 with 3 candidates. Any other ones we're missing? The 1%, Proposition 1 is a 58%, 58.75%. For 40.2% against. The vote total for Proposition 1, the penny power, 4,934 for it, 3,381 against it. What ones are you want me to find here? Right mayor or right council person next up, perhaps?
Yep.
Yeah, if you have that one.
Still a big lead for Kingdon Wright Mayor, 247 votes to 133. Councilperson Danny Preston, 25.7% with 200 votes.
So that's still the same.
Yeah. It wasn't a right district, so.
It was only changed with the absentee ballot. So you have those results already. Any you want repeated, or any I have missed on with these 37 of 37 reporting?
Okay, so that's all of the county. All of the county is reported except for the absentees. So they should be out shortly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would anticipate them pretty quick. We'll call you back. Anything you want me to go over again before we let you go?
I think we got it.
I think you're doing a fine job, Paul. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Paul. And so it looks like there are a couple that the absentees might be able to swing. A couple of the races where it looks like the hospital board looks like that one there might be some shifts, but the mayor race, it's still within a couple hundred votes, and we saw in the primary that could still swing back the other way. So that's one we're going to keep an eye on. I just brought up the latest in the statewide. It looks like most of these races are 405 of 482 precincts statewide. Jillian Balo's leading Mike Ceballos 61% to 39%. So that one is it hasn't been called by at least by the Star Tribune yet. It hasn't been called, but that one not as close as it was earlier in the night. Let's take a look. House District 36 looks like Gerald Gay 54 to 46. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, probably all the Casper ones are finals now.
It kind of does look like most of those precincts in that area.
They might still be looking at their write-ins too.
And Scott Clem, it looks like 7 of 7 precincts reporting Scott Clem wins by 80 to 20%, 1,316 total votes to 329 for Billy Montgomery. And we have a call coming in, so let's take that real quick. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. How's it going this evening?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. Hey, I just missed it. Did the 1% make it or no?
The 1% is leading right now. The absentee ballots are still out, but the 1% is leading.
It's 4,934 votes for the 1% and 3,381 against, and that's for all the precincts in the county, but we still have the write-ins left.
So 58% for right now.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, 58.75% vote yes on the 1% tax, 40.2% vote no so far. And again, I don't see how there would be enough absentee ballots to shift that one. Now 58% though. That's closer than it's been in some recent years. It's generally in the mid 60s or so, right?
Yeah, that's right. It is a little
bit closer,
but it's still, that's a pretty big mandate.
Yeah, 18%. An 18% win is pretty big. It's about a 1,700 vote difference right now. So that's a pretty big a pretty big win right there. I'm just taking a look at some of the other.
Well, something that we haven't talked about all night is the conservation district. And the people that run for the conservation district, they're concerned about and actually conserving our resources, especially water, in order to essentially have great water for our community, the whole county, but also to be sure that we aren't doing things that would make it so that we wouldn't be able to operate our mines and our wells and and those types of things. So that's an important job, and We appreciate those people that are willing to serve on the conservation.
Absolutely. And now, did the conservation district, did they have anything to do with the development of the Madison, or are they part of the decision making process on that?
Not really.
They had nothing to do with
nothing
the
at all.
Madison water
What
project.
they're involved in is surface water and pollution as it relates to Fishing Lake or Donkey Creek or the Little Powder River and those kinds of things.
Okay. Learn something every day. I think we have another call here. Let's go to the phones. News Talk 1270. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Ron Worthwine calling from Gillette, of course.
Hey, Ron. How's it going?
Hi, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Very good.
How you doing?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Are you all pumped up?
I am a little.
All right, good.
Once we get the absentees counted, I am prepared to be a little more pumped, but I'm pretty happy right now.
Good.
That's great.
Well, very good. Thank you. And I just wanted to call in and say thank you to everyone who voted for me. I appreciate the confidence.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking through my papers here to make sure I have the numbers for you here. Right now, looks like 68 to 24, 68% to 24. So, and of course, I'm not going to ask you to make a victory speech right now. But things are looking pretty good. I mean, where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, of course, between now and when I would take office, if I do win, I still have a couple of trials to get ready for. So I'm looking forward to that. And just getting in place a transition plan, I think, is kind of next on the agenda.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Once this is all said and done, and assuming things stay where they are, make sure you stop by sometime. Okay.
Absolutely will. Thank you, sir.
Hey, are you over at Bell Knob right now?
Actually, no. I kind of spent the evening with my wife and parents at my house.
Oh, okay.
Good for you.
So you're because I talked to some of the candidates, and they said some of them were going to be over at Bell Knob with the Republican Party event, but about half the candidates I've talked to this season said they just spend election night at home just watching the results.
Well, and actually, we were listening to you guys on 1270. Is when we first started hearing things.
Well, we always appreciate that. Trust me.
Very good.
Congratulations, Ron, and we're sure that you'll do a good job for all of us here.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and have a good night, gentlemen.
Hey,
congratulations, Ron. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, thank you. Have a good night.
You bet. You too.
And that's Ron Worthwine. I think it's probably safe to call that race. I mean, I'm not one of the political experts that calls races, but I think that one's pretty safe to call. There's 68 to 24% right now.
There's absolutely no Democratic strongholds left in the precincts that are left, so probably it's safe.
Yeah. Well, and everything's in except for the. Well, okay, I get it. Okay. Well, we'll just. But congratulations to Ron Worthwine. And if anybody is over at Bell Knob and wants to call in and let us know how things are going over there right now, feel free. Again, the Republican Party is having their big night over there.
I bet they're celebrating big time, not only at the state level but at the federal level.
And that's what I was going to bring up next.
Yeah, they just gave us not North Carolina, but they just gave us Iowa. So Joni Ernst won there.
So it's +7 right now.
+7, yeah.
+7, which is West Virginia, South Dakota, Arkansas, Montana, Colorado, Iowa, Georgia avoids a runoff. So that's the 7 right now. It could end up being 8 or 9 before this is over with.
It could be. Yeah.
Inching fairly close to a veto-proof majority. Also, Scott Walker, the Republican candidate in Wisconsin, looks like he wins. Looks like Charlie Crist loses. Scott Brown in New Hampshire didn't win. That's one of the few
But we still have Alaska left too, and
yeah, we've got
to get that one.
We got Alaska, and North Carolina's 98% in, and they haven't called it yet.
And here's I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he's running, but apparently the new governor of Texas, of course, Greg Abbott. He's already won that one. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find out what George P. Bush won in Texas. I think he was
with the
land commissioner in Houston or something.
Yes.
Okay, so George Prescott Bush. So there's still more Bushes out there. Young guy too. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I've noticed. A lot of these candidates that are winning, Ernst in Iowa, for example. I mean, these are young candidates that are winning tonight. I mean, I think Joni Ernst is 43 or 44 years old. I mean, that's pretty young for a United States senator.
It is.
And of course, we'll leave all of the punditry for tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be quite a bit of it going on, some excuse making as well. But back to the local side, I'm just going to try to update things here. And
Don, while you're looking there, I guess we appreciate that Ron Werthrein called in, and we hope that some more candidates will call in too. And talk to the public about their race. And you don't have to be a winner to talk, because you are a winner because you tried, and it takes guts to run for office. So we respect everybody that did.
Well, and certainly something I would never subject myself to. I mean, okay. I mean, and now, both of you, of course, we're talking with Dwayne Evenson and Greg Blickery. I mean, you've run for office a few times. How do you deal with the negativity? I mean, for me, I would lose my temper right off the bat. I mean, how do you deal with the negativity and the negative campaigns and the mudslinging without losing your mind? I never understood that about politicians.
You just try your best to stay aimed at your target, I guess. And it's when you're serving too. Do your best to get all the information and do what you think is right, and that's the best you can do for any individual. I've been on both sides of it. I've won elections and I've lost elections, and it's a tough ballgame when you lose an election, because you stuck yourself out there and got your butt kicked, and it's not so much fun sometimes.
Well, and especially in Wyoming, if you're running, as a third party candidate or even as a Democrat. I mean, a lot of these races, the one race I thought would be close, and it was closer than I thought it would be, but it looks like the superintendent of public instruction race. Of course, I think the Democrats thought they could make some inroads on this one. They ran a strong candidate and still fell way short. I mean, 61% to 39%. That's a pretty big gap. I mean, some of the other races. I mean, I'm looking Ed Murray 77%, Lummis 68%. So it really was even that race as close as I mean, I didn't think it would be. I didn't think it would be, right down to the wire, but I thought it'd be a little bit closer than 61 to 39.
Yeah, well, we're a strong Republican state, and we have a party that works hard. It's pretty difficult for the Democrats to go up against us, and then the other part of it is you've got that president.
Well, and that's
and in this case, they're pulling on that president is pulling the coattails back for any local candidates in Wyoming, as far as we're concerned in our state, because pretty much anything that the present administration does hurts us in our state.
Well, now, just a hypothetical. I mean, say you wake up tomorrow and you're the head of the Democratic Party in Wyoming. Where do you go from an election night like this? Where do you go as the head of a party? I mean, I can't even imagine how hard it's going to be tomorrow.
Well, facetiously, I'd suggest that he joins our party.
Well, you know.
Yeah, even independents don't do well in our state, and so it's one of those things that if you can't beat them, you should probably join them.
Well, and I'm looking at the results, and it looks like in the governor's race, the last minute, and I don't see anything for a write-in, so I don't think the last minute write-in campaign made any difference at all either. Governor Meade with 62% of the vote. Pete Gosar, 29%, Don Wills at 6%, and Dee Cousins with 3%. So even with four candidates that are on the ballot and a fifth one off the ballot, Governor Meade still pretty much coasted to victory.
You were talking about write-in votes, and years ago, when we were a much smaller city and county, they used to actually report some of the more interesting write-in votes that were happening. But now we've become, so much more computerized, and so much more that we don't usually hear about what those are. But sometimes there are probably some pretty funny ones.
I wouldn't mind. It looks like we have something big coming in here.
They just gave us North Carolina.
Wow. So that's
Tom Tillis beats Kay Hagan.
That's +8.
Yeah.
Wow. That is just I mean that is just it's hard to believe that 6 months ago I was doubting that this kind of thing would happen. But +8 so far.
Well, I mean it tells what's happening across this nation with the leadership of the present administration. Some of the overreaching of the departments of this administration is affecting people in virtually every state in the United States, and not positively, and so you're seeing what happens.
Well, I mean the EPA, the BLM. I mean it's pretty much every agency with 3 letters in the name just seems to be all over the place. So why don't we take a short break? We'll come back. We're still waiting for the final the final county votes to come in. All of the precincts are in. However, the absentee ballots haven't been counted yet. The one we've been watching so far tonight, the mayor's race, Louise Carter King 50.5. Kevin McGrath, 45.7. That's as the last regular votes are counted. We're still waiting for absentees, which, as we saw during the primaries, can make a difference. So we'll keep on that one until the absentees are counted, and we'll be right back. News Talk 1270 KIML.
We'll be right back after we pay some bills and cover Don's exorbitant salary. Thanks, Don. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Welcome back to our live election coverage. I'm Don Carpenter. I'm here with Dwayne Evenson and Greg Blickery. And we want to thank our sponsors that made this possible tonight. Camco Federal Credit Union, Automatic Transmission Systems and Drivetrain, Doyle Surveying, Larry and Sharon's Place and Wright, Powder River Shredders, LLC, Spearfish Motors, Powder River Espresso Coffee Shop, James Tire Service, and the Spirit Hall Ice Arena. And if you're just joining us, we're waiting for the absentee ballots to come in for the county and city races. We have a couple of pretty close ones there. Certainly a lot closer than most of the state races, at least the statewide races. They're pretty much all decided. Governor Meade's going to get his second term. Looks like Jillian Balow, that one's been called by the Star Tribune. Jillian Balow wins Superintendent of Public Instruction. Ed Murray wins Secretary of State. And, of course, there were a couple of statewide races that were uncontested. Let me just make sure we get those in there as well. Okay. State Auditor Cynthia Cloud, uncontested as well. So all of those are pretty much decided. If you're just joining us, the city mayor's race, as of the end of regular ballot counting, not counting the absentee ballots, Louise Carter King leads 50.5 to Kevin McGrath's 45.7.
Earlier I was talking about, some of the other things like the cemetery district. Eric Berquist and Tom Fisk and Jim Hastings are all running for that, and that's good because we have a really nice cemeteries here in our county, and I guess you could put that towards these guys that are willing to step up and serve on that board. In our conservation district, I was talking about that a little earlier, and Casey Elkins and Travis Hackert and B.J. Clark, all three ran, for positions on that, and they're unopposed because it's vote for three. Thanks, because we need people to serve on that committee.
Well, and a lot of these offices, people don't really know a lot about them, but they're vital to the operation of the city and the county. I mean, they really are.
They really are. There's a lot of things that the state government and the county government especially need the conservation district to be doing the services that they're doing to help us essentially in our effort to control our own destiny rather than having a federal department control our destiny.
Absolutely. Again, and of course the lines are open for anybody that wants to call in and maybe have any questions about any of the races or any of the candidates, either side, winners or losers. I mean, I don't want to call anybody lose, but if you came up short, I mean, you feel free to call in and talk to us. 682-1270, 682-1270. And let's just go through some of the city council races. Again, this is all before the absentee ballots came in. Ward 1, Dan Barks leads Caleb Nygaard 58 to 31%. Ward 2, Tim Karsrud leads Mike Conway 52.4 to 33%. And Ward 3, Robin Kuntz is leading Julie Simon 55.4 to 35%.
An interesting race is Wright's Tim Albin versus Ralph King. And Dwayne commented earlier about Ralph King, and this will be his third time he was elected with losses in between.
Yeah. He was. It's just amazing to me. That's quite a story. He should write memoirs someday. About his political career.
He pulled a double Grover Cleveland with non-consecutive terms. I mean, you get elected, you lose, you get elected. So I mean, that is quite a feat, especially in a little town like Wright. I mean, it's not easy sometimes getting elected with just it's such a small town. We're only talking, a couple hundred votes here.
Right.
So, it's pretty tough sometimes. And I think we have a call on the line. News Talk 1270, you're on the air. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, good evening. What are what's 1% sales tax looking like?
The 1% is...
It passed 58% to 40.2. 40.2.
So right now at this point, before the absentee ballots, is 4,930 votes for and 3,381 against.
Great, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks a lot for the call. Yeah, so yeah, the 1% without the absentee ballots is about 18 points ahead. Again, the absentee ballots, I'm not sure exactly how many of them are out there. We haven't been told,
right.
But they should be in. They should be in fairly shortly. It's been about 45 minutes or close to an hour since we last heard from. It's been about 45 minutes since we heard from Paul. So the absentee ballots are the only thing we're waiting for on the citywide races.
I guess one thing I'll mention is we have most of our races we're talking about here are. Well, I mean, of course, there's a lot of state races, but inside of our county. But we have two positions or three positions actually, because one isn't up for election this time, that we share with other counties, and that is House District, or excuse me, Senate District that Ogden Driscoll does, Senate District 1, which we share with Crook County and a little bit of Weston County. And Ogden had a tough battle in the primary, but in this one he was unopposed and will continue to serve us. And then in, I think it's House District 3, which is Eric Barlow won the close race in the primary, and his district is
partially
most of the rural part of southwest Campbell County and southern Campbell County, and then northern Converse County with a little bit of Douglas. So those people will be moving on, and they serve 2 counties.
Okay, and again, they were unopposed, but I think they both had primary challengers, if I'm not mistaken. We have a couple calls here, so we'll just go through these real quick. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Yes, hey, I just wanted to call in and thank the PAC for greater leadership in Gillette and in Campbell County. They did a fabulous job, and I'm glad to see that the results have turned out like they have with the 1%. Also, Louise Carter, she'll be a great leader for the community, and all the other great things that they did. So it's important that the private sector people get around and make things happen, and just appreciate that great PAC that got behind the great leadership.
Hey, thanks a lot for the call.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's something that a lot of people don't always think about. I mean, a lot of the advertising that you hear is paid for by just especially some of these local PACs. I mean, it's just a bunch of people that support that candidate. It's not some big corporation. It's not it's not some evil billionaire somewhere. It's local people that support their chosen candidate. And I think we have one more call here. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hey, Don, this is Scott Clem.
Hey, Scott, how's it going? Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to call in and just share my thanks to all the voters out there who voted for me. I'm really looking forward to being the next representative for House District 31. So I'm eager now to get to Cheyenne.
Well, congratulations, Scott. And if we can sit down and you have any questions, I'll be glad to help you.
Absolutely, I certainly appreciate that. But yeah, it was a good night all around for many races, local races, and especially the national ones. It's great to see that the Senate was finally came back to the Republican Party, and so that's just wonderful news for really the country.
Well, we're looking at +8 right now. Now you're over at Belle Knob, right?
Correct. We're actually leaving there right now.
Oh, well, how was the atmosphere over there?
It was great. A lot of excitement in the air. Very celebratory. I mean, the crowd in the down there in the clubhouse just erupted with clapping and shouts when the Senate was finally overtaken with the Republican Party. So, and then from there, every time they added a new person, just again the clapping and just an eruption of jubilant joy, I guess you could say. It was really.
Well, I mean, now of course you have a lot of studying to do before January, don't you?
Well, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I've actually begun working on now. I don't remember who it was that suggested this. It actually might have been I think it was Tim Stupson, who's a Casper representative, and anyway, just encouraged me to really look at the committee notes, the interim committee notes or the minutes, and so that's what I've been doing is looking at those and just trying to study up on the issues. I want to be the most informed, freshman representative there. I just want to get a good grasp of the issues. That way I can represent this district well.
Hey, and of course you'll have to stop by when I'm sure I'll be broadcasting down in Cheyenne. Make sure you stop by, okay?
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
Hey, thanks a lot, Scott.
Congratulations, Scott.
Congratulations. Thanks for calling. Thanks for calling in and sharing your excitement with us.
You bet. Thank you.
Yep, there you go. Scott Clem, of course, the new representative elect from District 31. Of course, he's taking the seat that was formerly held by Speaker Lubnow. Again, the final number on that was 80% to 20%, beating the Democratic challenger Billy Montgomery. So that one, I think it's a fairly typical number for Campbell County as far as the result.
What was the vote cut again? There?
80 to 20.
That's the percentages.
Yeah. That was the final before. And I'm going by the Star Tribune. So that was with all of the precincts reporting, but not the absentees. So it might change by a couple of votes, but the percentages it'd probably be about the same. And that's I think it's pretty much what you would expect here in Campbell County. Again, some of the other races we're still keeping an eye on. The mayor's race, I'm not sure exactly how many absentee ballots are out, but that one, it's about a 4.5 point race right now. Louise Carter King leading Kevin McGrath 50.5 to 45.7. And okay, so let me just update this to see if there's anything else we're missing here. Some little things, just side things from around the country. It looks like I didn't even know this was up for a vote. Medical marijuana fails to pass in Florida. That's actually surprising with Florida. Okay, so that one looks like. Let's see. Charlie Crist finally concedes. So it took him a while, but he finally conceded the governor's race in Florida. Let's take a look here. Some of the other governor's races, of course, Scott Walker wins in Wisconsin, which is I think his third election in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
They'll probably try to. Oh wow, this is a big one. Okay. Well, Scott Brown will probably try. They'll probably try to recall him again, so he'll probably be up for election again next year. This one is actually. This might be the biggest surprise of the night. Larry Hogan, the Republican candidate in Maryland, ends up winning the governor's seat in Maryland.
Wow!
And not even close. He wins by about 8 points.
Wow! Good for him.
Yeah,
good for him. Good for us.
I think he's only the third Republican governor in the past 40 years in Maryland, which that's my birth state. So good for them. They made the right decision for once. Get rid of O'Malley. O'Malley was up term limited, but O'Malley's lieutenant governor, I guess, fell short. So that's a big surprise there. It doesn't really affect us here, but it is a big surprise. And I think that's pretty much where we're at on the national races. So we're just still waiting for the county and the city results to come in. Why don't we do this? We'll take a short break, and we'll get caught up on everything, and hopefully we'll have the results for you. Well, actually, hold on, before we take the break. Oh, okay. I think we have a candidate calling in. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Yes. Can you please go over the school votes, please? School trustee?
Oh, okay. Sure. The school district.
Yes.
Okay. I saw a name come up in the caller ID.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, so we'll ask you about that in a second. Okay.
Right.
School district.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
It's Andrea Ladke, 4266.
Repeat that, please.
Andrea Ladke, 4266. Ann Oakes, 4188. Dave Foreman, 3930. Jennifer Brenner, 2480. John Pettyjohn, 2350. And Dale Janota, 1552.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks a lot. And Yeah, and so that the school district race looks like it's Foreman, Ladkey, and Oaks, the top three right now.
At that point, and it's a pretty good spread, so there would have to be a lot of write-in votes.
Yeah.
To change that.
Okay. Okay. Now we'll take our break, and we'll get caught up on things, and hopefully we'll have the absentee results for you when we come back. News Talk 1270 KIML.
Listen every Tuesday morning at 9 for the Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks on the Don Carpenter Show. News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Welcome back to our live election coverage. I'm Don Carpenter. I'm here with Dwayne Evenson and Greg Blickery. And this is all brought to you by Camco Federal Credit Union, Automatic Transmission Systems and Drivetrain, Doyle Surveying, Larry Insurance Place and Wright, Powder River Shredders, LLC, Spearfish Motors, Powder River Espresso Coffee Shop, James Tire Service, Spirit Hall Ice Arena, and I think we have Paul Wallum on the line. Hey, Paul, what's up?
She has just handed the final, and I'm just trying to get to a spot where I can use the free hand that's not on the phone and give them to you here.
Okay.
She just walked out the door with them. I was calling to tell you I didn't have the new ones yet, and as I was on hold, she walked out with them. So
good timing.
Okay, let's find the mayor's race for you. Louise Carter King at 50.1%, Kevin McGrath at 46.2%. That vote tally was 3,300 exactly for Louise Carter King, Kevin McGrath 3,048. And let me read my cover sheet. It says this is all 38 of 38 accounted for. So
this is the final.
According to my cover sheet, this is the final results.
Okay.
They provide a cover sheet on top of the election results when they hand them out from the PIO office. So it says all 38 precincts are accounted for. Should I give you the mayor numbers again, or you want to move on to a different one?
I have them. I think we got it.
Okay.
Louise and 30,048 for Kevin.
Which one?
3,048 for Kevin.
School district, or would you like to move on to hospital?
How about can you finish the city council wards?
Let's do city council next.
Would you like to do percentages or vote totals?
Vote totals.
Okay. Dan Barks for Ward 1, 1,186. Caleb Nygaard, 632.
Okay, and the percentages on those?
58.5 and 31.2.
Okay.
Ward 2, Tim Karsrud, 1,029, about 53%. Mike Conway, 630 votes at about 32%.
Okay, and for Ward 3?
Ward 3, Robin Kuntz, 1,455. Julie Simon, 910. That's about 56% for Kuntz and 35% for Simon.
Okay.
Wright Mayor, 274 for Ralph Kingen and 149 for Tim Albin. 64% for Kingen and 35% for Albin.
What was the vote count for Tim Albin?
Tim had 149, Ralph had 274.
Okay, 274, and what was the percentage for Kingen again?
64%.
Okay, 64. Okay, we had the pages out of order here.
Okay. Councilperson Wright, this is a vote for 2. Danny Preston, 25.6%, with 221 votes. To be followed by Glenn Holt, had 208 votes, 24.1%. And Robert Gallup, 19.8%, 171 votes.
Okay, and do you have Angie Jensen in there?
137 votes for 16%.
Okay, and top 2 for that one, right?
There's a vote for 2, correct.
Okay, and the school district?
School district vote for 3. Looks like the top percentage would be Andrea Latke, 16.7%. Actually, Ann Oaks has a few more votes. She has 16.74%, and third would be Dave Foreman, 16.6%. The vote totals on those three: Andrea Latke, 5,427, and Oaks, 5,435. Dave Foreman, 5,076. And the remaining three were all under 10% vote totals. Pettijohn had 3,091. Brenner had 3,119. Dale Janota, 2,019.
Okay, so and the top three for that one were all really close, within a couple votes.
Looks like Oaks, just by about 8 votes, would be the top vote getter, and Foreman followed behind with 5,076, so he would be third behind Latke and Oaks. So in a vote for 3.
Paul, it looks like there was really a lot of absentee ballots. I mean, do you know what the total number of absentee ballots?
I don't know if I have that on a cover sheet.
Well, there was some big gains in numbers here.
Let me see here. Registered voters total 18,360. I'm not seeing the absentee here. Ballots cast total 10,820.
So about 60% total. It's a little bit better turnout.
What do you want to move on to next? Was it the hospital board?
Yeah, hospital.
Okay, we'll start with a 4-year. Biggest percentage, Sarah Hartsaw, 16.4. Her vote total, 7,090.
Okay.
Next highest percentage, Alan Todd, at about 14%. That's 5,990. Harvey Jackson, about 13%, 5,491. George Dunlop, 10%, 4,663. Jerome Waters, 10%, with 4,410. Hospital 2-year, Alan L. Mitchell had 48.2%, and Cliff Ritchie, 28.8%. Mitchell's vote total is 5,217. Ritchie's at 3,118. I think I've not done Scott Clem in a while. Scott Clem, House 31, at about 75% over Billy Montgomery. The vote total there for House 31, Clem 1577 and Montgomery 425.
Okay.
Any other close ones that we were watching that I guess the 1% we haven't gone over with the final?
Yeah, the final on the 1%.
Let's grab that one moment. Oh, county attorney I didn't go over. That's Worth Wine at about 68% and Finke at 27%. Worth Wine at 7,312. Finke at 2,925. And I have found the penny power. The votes for 58%, almost 59%, against 40%. Vote tallies for Proposition 1 for 6,351, against 4,344. So just about a 2,000 vote advantage for Proposition 1.
Okay, and Amendment A is, I guess, still about 70-30.
Yeah, looking at 70 and then actually a 25%. That's 75-97 against, 27-21 for.
Okay. I think that's pretty much all we need from the courthouse, I think.
Okay.
Hey, thanks a lot, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Good night.
Great
and
job.
Thanks
Good
to
job,
the
Paul.
elections, I'd like to thank the elections ladies and all the helpers who bring in the bags from around the county. Thanks for all your work out there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
they do a great job. You got it to us pretty quickly. Hey, thanks a lot, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, and we're going to go right down the phone lines here. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Noreen Kasperik.
Hey,
Noreen.
Hey.
Happy anniversary.
Hey, thanks. That was yesterday. We're working on a new year now.
Well,
there you go.
Congratulations. I know we've talked about this on the morning show before. I know you're unopposed, but I mean you still ran a campaign. You got the word out. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm going to miss some of my good friends that aren't coming back this year. Greg and Tom and Don Hines. We're losing a lot of good folks, but I think we're going to gain a lot of good people too, and hopefully I can be of some support and help mentor them as they learn the process.
Well, there certainly are quite a few new people moving into the House and the Senate down in Cheyenne, so they can definitely. I'm sure it's a pretty steep learning curve, so they could probably use all the help they can get from you.
Well, I'm sure we can all use all the help we can get.
Oh,
no matter how long you're there, there's always something to learn.
Well, and you certainly do a job I would never want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations on the win tonight. So, where did you spend election night?
I went. I actually did some work. I went to the Climb Wyoming graduation. We graduated actually 9 women from the Climb program, most of all who already have jobs. So that's a great thing for these women to be able to get that kind of training and go out and earn money to support their families. So I did that earlier this evening. Then I stopped in at. We have a delegation from the state of Washington, from one of the tribes, and from Kelso and Longview, Washington. So I stopped in and visited with them a little bit more, and I'll visit with them again tomorrow while they tour Dry Fork Station. And let's see, what else did I do? I came out to Belknap because my husband's having a big election celebration party out here. So there's still quite a crowd here, and people are enjoying the evening.
So, Noreen, people out there are pretty excited about the U.S. Senate races, aren't they?
Right now, I think we're +7.
+8, we think.
Yeah.
I think there's still some runoffs, and there's still some that they say are too close to call. But what the TV is showing right now is +7.
Okay, I guess that's. I mean, it's a big night. I mean, it really is.
It is a huge night.
Well, Noreen, are you going to believe radio or TV here?
Am I going to believe radio or TV? Well, Greg, if you're going to give me, if you say that this is the way it is, then I will believe you.
Well, and I want to thank you for stopping or for calling in. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to see you in studio soon.
Okay, I'll make a point of getting out there, in the next few weeks before, in between trips for meetings.
and make sure you tell Nick that his efforts to get out the vote seems like they made an improvement. It looks like it's about 60% here in Campbell County.
All right.
Better than the primary.
Do you know how hard that is? I have to, I have to live up to that at home.
Well, okay. You can decide whether to tell him or not.
I think he did a great job.
Hey,
he did an amazing job, and he was very passionate about it. And and this is the way it needs to be.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you. You guys are doing a great job. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Noreen. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and there was Noreen Kasperik again. Just some of the quick results. The winners looks like Louise Carter King wins the mayor's race. Dan Barks, Ward 1 City Council, Tim Karsrud, Ward 2 City Council, Robin Kuntz, Ward 3 City Council, Ralph Kingen, Mayor of Wright, Wright Council, Glenn Holt and Danny Preston, School District, Dave Foreman, Andrea Ladke, and Ann Oakes, all within 0.1% of each other. We're talking just a couple votes. And let's take a look here. Let's go to the phones, and we'll get you some more results in a second. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Yeah, with the city council members that have been announced, the mayor's race in Gillette, with Mr. Evenson in the studio now as well as Mr. Blickery, I would like to get their viewpoint on what the current elections will mean for the future of Gillette, if they could chime in on that. I'll take my answer off the air. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot. And I think this is probably more for you, Dwayne. What do you see with the council that's going to be sworn in January, and with Louise Carter King as mayor?
Well, I think that the city will continue to move forward as it has in the last several years, and infrastructure projects, whatever it is that the city's going to have to build itself and prepare itself for the future, because that's what all good leaders and councils before have done, is they've planned for the future of Gillette, not only for next year and 2 years from now, but for 5 and 10 years down the road. And so they have some big decisions on utilities coming up, and Louise will be a great leader to walk them through that and help everybody get through that and make the right decisions for the community. It would appear to me that she's going to have a very good council to work with, and being the mayor is different than being on the city council, and she will quickly learn and understand that. But she's got a great staff up there that's going to work for her and the city council. But I think for the most part, I think the community won tonight and the citizens won tonight. And certainly all of the programming that we've been doing for the last several years will continue to move forward. And she will represent us well at the state level with Noreen and the representatives and the senators that we have in Laramie. She'll serve very, very well with Senator Enzi. Their families are actually friends, and so she will serve well with them and have, I'm sure, the delegation's ear. So I'm proud of Louise and glad that she stepped up to run for mayor and that she turned it around from the primary. She worked very, very hard at getting the job done, and there was many times she didn't think she was working hard enough and that it was worth it. But I'm sure if she was here, she would tell us that every step that her and her family took walking through this great town was meaningful, and she was really glad she did it. So.
Well, now it turned from about an 80 or 100 vote loss in the primary to about a 252 vote win in the general. I mean, in a town where only 6,000 people are casting votes, or about 6,500. That's not an easy task.
No, and like I say, she I think for the primary, neither one of the candidates, if you will, put a big effort into it, because as we talked earlier tonight, in city politics and city elections, the top two vote getters go. So if you're the only two that are running for that office, it's expensive and it's costly to do that. And so why spend the money going forward into the primary when you know you're going to be there in the end? See how you do, and then re-strategize and plan your strategy moving forward, and then make sure that you execute it the way that it needs to be executed. And Louise did a great job at doing that, planning, executing, walking, everything that she had to do, she did right.
And I guess from my perspective, the people that were elected for the council and for the mayor's job will continue to work well with the county government and the school district for projects that we need, and support the college, which is, in my opinion, our best opportunity for economic development in this community going forward for years and years and years, and also for economic diversification. So I'm pleased with the turnout. We have a new councilman, Dan Barks, who's got a long history of working with the governments of this community, as manager of Camplex and before that of the Parks and Rec Department. So he's going to have a learning curve because it's a different ballgame being on the board than it is being the director of something. But he'll be capable and he'll work hard, and he's somebody that, I know personally plans for the future.
Well, now, and we talked about this near the beginning of the coverage. The main issue at hand for the mayor's election, and probably for the city council seats to a lesser extent, but the main issue at hand was spending for large capital projects. I mean, that was the main difference, at least the way I saw the campaigns run between the two candidates, Louise Carter King, Kevin McGrath. Do you think that this victory shows a willingness by the people of Gillette to maybe look into more of these big projects that would help the economy grow?
Well, I guess I would say no. I would say that it was a vote by the people for people who will plan for the future, and that as projects come along, any organization that's wanting a project is going to have to show the community the need for that project and convince them that we need it. And then we'll have the discussion about whether we'll build it or not. I don't think this is about that at all. I think this is about people that are willing to work together with other entities for the good of all the citizens of Gillette.
Yeah, and I think that part of the discussion was, I think that we would be fooling ourselves if we didn't say that the Field of Dreams had something to do with it.
Well, and I was trying to get at that without actually getting at that.
I personally believe, and I've told Louise this, and I've told all the council members that. I told the former mayor that resigned. It was foolish the way it was handled from the beginning. In my opinion, my opinion, the way they did that. And any time that you tell an entire community that you can come to the public meeting and tell us what you want and we will give it consideration. Well, you're only asking for trouble because you cannot deliver 100% on something like that. And so I felt that it was handled improperly from the beginning. My opinion. But with that said, they decided to do it and handle it the way that they did it. And it was handled improperly, and the people voted, or the people said that they didn't want to do it when you were talking about $900 million. Well, I don't blame them for not wanting to fund something that's $900 million. But they're going to have a beautiful facility out there when the ballparks are done, all the infrastructure's done, the main costs are done with the infrastructure, the water, the street, the lights. All of that was in the first phase with the 4 ball fields. And I would guess that they probably will look deep and hard as to when they would budget any more money to be spent out there. Not saying that they won't, but I would think that the message was sent loud and clear to all of them. But if there's a worthwhile project that comes forward, like Greg said, I believe that they probably will fund that and move forward, because it's like anything else that goes on in our community. You take the Camplex, the theater, the hospital, the airport, any of those things, everybody said at the time, you guys are out of your mind. The land that the city bought that the college is on and the new rec center, you guys are out of your mind to spend this kind of money. 5 years later, you're heroes because you saw and you planned for the future.
Well, and that's exactly what I was getting. I didn't want to mention the Field of Dreams by name, but that's what I was getting at. I didn't want to make it about something in the past, but
sure.
That's kind of what I was getting at with that. Let's take a call. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hey, Don, this is Kevin McGrath, and Dwayne and Greg.
Hey,
Good
Kevin.
job tonight.
Hey, thanks,
I
Kevin.
just want to publicly thank Louise. She ran a great campaign. I think she's going to be a great mayor, and looking forward to working with her for 2 years.
All right. Well, Kevin, just thanks for calling and congratulations. And actually, we know that you will work with her for the next 2 years, and you'll work with everybody for the best.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Yep. And Kevin, thanks for calling in and for putting your name in the hat and standing out there. It's never easy, and I've always said that sometimes you just have to respect those people that put their name in the hat and take the arrows that are thrown whenever they're thrown. But the fact of the matter is that you put your name out there and you ran a campaign, and you graciously accept the outcome and willing to work with Louise and publicly say that takes a lot for a man to do. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Dwayne. I tried to get a hold of Louise, but I can't get a hold of her. So
okay, I think the last time I tried, her mailbox was full.
It's election night. And thanks a lot, Kevin, for calling in.
Right.
You ran a great race.
All right. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. You guys have
Thanks,
a good night.
Kevin.
Okay, there you go. It was Kevin McGrath. Again, the final result on the mayor's race, Louise Carter King, 50.1. Kevin McGrath, 46.2. It was 252 vote margin on that one. So also one of the other ones, and this one was a little bit closer than I would have expected, but the Proposition 1 question, of course, the 1% optional sales tax, 59 to 40 was the final result on that one. Vote yes, 59% yes, 40% no. About a 2,000 vote difference on that one. So a little bit closer than in years past, but still a fairly comfortable margin.
Yeah, I missed my target. I said the optimist that I am, I said 67%, but I missed that by about 9%. But nonetheless, it passed, and I think that the community will be better off in the next 4 years because they have the additional tax. And with that said, it makes it easier for the new mayor and the council to go to the state legislature if they need any funding for anything. And same way with the State Land and Investment Board, that they have the 1%.
And I'd like to point out that the 6 cent will drop next spring.
Yeah.
Because all the money that'll need to be collected for our share of the Madison Water Project will be in, and so we'll drop from 6 back down to 5%.
Back down to 5. So, that should be sometime in the spring. I think we have another call coming in, so let's go right back to the phones. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Louise Carter King.
Hi.
Who?
Hi, Louise.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Dwayne. Hi, Don. Is that all that's there?
No. And Paul just walked in the room.
Oh, hey, Paul.
Paul's
I know.
here.
Paul told me to call, but I've been kind of busy.
Have you? What have you been doing?
Oh,
Hello,
nothing. I'm about to go to bed. See you guys. No, really.
Are you
Thanks
excited?
for everything. It's been a lot of fun. And let me tell you a story. So as soon as I won, that you announced I won, my sister brought me a box, and in it was a ring that my dad had when he was mayor, and he would always, Dwayne, I don't know if you remember, if anybody remembers, but when he would try to get people's attention, he would go knock, knock, knock.
Oh, I remember that.
It's his Texas A&M ring, and so I have it around my neck, and I guess I'll have to use it. But anyway, thanks, everyone. Thanks to all my supporters. It was a tough race, and I had a worthy opponent. And I know Kevin has tried to call me. I just have missed his calls, and I'll try to get a hold of him. But anyway, I'm glad it's over.
Kevin,
it was a long, grueling race.
Louise, Kevin just called in a minute ago, and he was gracious. And
well, I'm sure he was. I know. And I if he's listening, Kevin, I'm sorry. I just haven't. I saw that you called. I just haven't had a chance to call you. So sorry. I will.
Well, you have a couple years to get caught up.
That's right. That's right. We'll have plenty. And I do have an awesome council. I congratulate all the council people that won their races, and everyone ran a very nice, good, clean race.
Well, and that's the best thing you can hope for. I mean, it really as someone who's only been here, a little under a couple years, it was striking how well run the races are here.
Yes, I think they are.
Well, I want to thank you again for calling in, and I'm sure we'll have to sit down and set a time for you to come in on a monthly basis and kind of keep us up to date. Okay?
That'll be great. Thank you, and thanks, Dwayne. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Congratulations, Louise, and great job.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you, and thanks to all my supporters and friends and family. I've been humbled. So
okay.
Thank you.
Well, and we'll talk to you soon. There you go, Mayor-elect Louise Carter King. I think we have one more on the line. We'll take this call. Okay, and we'll kind of wrap things up here in a few minutes. So we're coming up on 10:30. 682-1270, 682-1270. If you have any, and as soon as I say the number, the phone lights up again. I knew it would. This is the part of the night where all the candidates call in and maybe a couple of reactions. So we'll do a couple of these. News Talk 1270. You're on the air.
Hello, this is Dan Barks. I thought I'd call in and say thank you to a whole lot of good people.
Well, congratulations, first off.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Congratulations, Dan.
Thanks, Dwayne. I appreciate it.
I think you're going to have a great city council and a great mayor to work with.
Yeah, I agree. I've been attending the meetings for several months, and they work together very well.
Good.
Well, Dan, congratulations. Glad to see you there.
Thank you, my friend.
So I guess you have a lot of preparing to do in the next couple months.
Yes, I'm sure. As was said earlier, there's a learning curve coming but I'm ready for it, and I'm looking forward to it. And when January comes, I'd like to be ready to go.
Well, hey, you're always welcome to stop by here once you're in office. If you ever need to talk about anything, you're always welcome here. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, and especially thanks to the folks of Gillette that thought I could serve them well. I appreciate their support.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, so there you go. It was City Council Ward 1 elect Dan Barks, and okay, we'll kind of wrap things up here. What would you say is the message to take from tonight? Maybe not just the national elections, but the local elections. We'll kind of focus on that. What do you think we saw here tonight?
Well, I think you saw the positive side of the community come out again in support of the 1% and in favor of many of the candidates. And I think that the message is that they want to continue to move forward and continue to do what we've been doing so well for so many years. And that's the message that I received.
I guess I think, like, looking at the 1% vote and especially looking at the mayor's race, I think that what I saw was the work to get more people to vote just gave a little bit, maybe more of a representation of the voters of our county. And so that's why it's important for everybody to vote. If Dwayne and I were having dinner tonight, and we had two people tell us, they didn't have time to vote. And it was like, wow.
Especially
why
here.
would you do that?
Especially, it's so easy here. I mean, it was quick and easy here. I think that's a good thing to take away from this. We have a couple calls here, so we'll just take these before we wrap things up. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Yeah, Tim Carsrud, City Council Ward 2.
Hey, Tim, thanks for calling in. Congratulations.
You betcha. Thank you guys very much.
Congratulations, Tim.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Tim, I think one thing that I've noticed about you since you've gotten on the board is that you try to get all the information you possibly can and educate yourself, and then you make your choices. And I think maybe that's why you did well tonight.
You know, I think that's I think it's so important to first off, be informed, and this is this isn't a job that I've taken lightly in 10 months, and definitely something I'm not going to take lightly, for the next 4 years at all. So I just really appreciate all the people that did get out and vote and voted for me specifically, and the folks that voted the 1% in. I think we're going to listen to what the voters have to say, and we're going to move this city forward in a positive direction.
All right, thanks, Tim.
That's a great plan. Keep up the good work, and remember, you got a great staff at the city and City Hall, so and City West, but all of them. So
let me tell you, when I first got on, 10 months ago, and I kind of went through my my city council boot camp. I had to spend 2 days going through all the departments and just meeting department heads and meeting people. And I'll tell you, that is one thing that I just am so impressed with is the employees. They are just so proud of what they do. And it didn't matter, whether I was, riding in a garbage truck, going down an alley picking up dumpsters, which I got to do, or, the wastewater, or, it didn't matter. They're proud people. And, it's just a great group of people, and we're going to have a great council. And I'll tell you, this city's going to move. It's going to move forward. And I'll tell you what, if we're not the best city in Wyoming, we're going to be really, really soon.
Yeah, I think you are.
Well, actually, I think we are the best city in Wyoming, and
I'm
we'll just keep going that way.
So. Very good.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, Tim.
Okay, there was Tim Karsrud, City Councilman-elect for Ward Number 2, and we have one more call we'll take before we wrap up. Okay, I guess they couldn't hold on. Again, Dwayne Evenson and Greg Blickery, I want to thank you so much for helping out tonight. I mean, you guys give me a perspective on this that I wouldn't have normally had, and it's certainly priceless. And I don't know what they're paying you, but it's not enough.
Well, I'm always happy to do it, Don, and I appreciate the invitation. Greg and I are old buddies from way back when, and it's kind of fun to do it with a friend and with you and running the keyboard and gives us an opportunity to talk about how wonderful our community is and the people that live here.
Yeah, we were talking earlier tonight about how when we were young guys, how much fun it was to listen to the guys that were talking on here that had lots of years of knowledge of the ins and outs of the government that we have in our community, and then it was kind of like amazing. It seems like so fast, such a short time ago, and here we are tonight helping you. And thank you for inviting us. It's been fun.
Well, hopefully we have many more years of doing these nights together. And I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank all the candidates for calling in, and I want to thank everybody that got out and voted. You guys made the difference tonight. And on that, I'm going to head out of here. I got to be back at 6 o'clock in the morning. I got to be back at 4, but you'll hear me again at 6. I'll see you guys in the morning. With that, we'll return. I believe we'll have, it should be Coast to Coast AM, I think, or Dennis Miller. I think it's Dennis Miller. So I'll see you guys in the morning.
Good night, Don.
Good night, Don.
Who needs a no-spin zone when you have a no-apology zone? Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
You're listening to KIML Gillette.
All medical resources, 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 medical